I have 3 boys, Alexander, Ezekiel, and Langston, and all so different. They're 2 years old. Alexander is short and spunky. He's my runaround leader of the pack. He is laughing all the time. Ezekiel is just a sweet soul. He just wears his heart on his sleeve and loves to laugh, loves to get tickled. He's also our inquisitive one. And then Langston has long eyelashes, and he's the tallest one, and definitely a ladies' man, even at the young age of 2. They all 3 really get along with each other and play. We were in 3 separate pods in the NICU, but from each pod could see each child and just felt like we owned the corner of the NICU for a long time. We were there for 8, 9, and 10 weeks. Every day, you just hope that day went well as far as the feeding and the weight gaining and no one getting sick from an infection, and just every little milestone that you hit, from removing a catheter to decreasing the amount of oxygen they were on, was just such an exciting time, but also just fearful. It was a time of uncertainty.
Well, when I think about the NICU and they were inside their isolates, they were so small and fragile, and I realized a lot of things were out of my control, so I just had to, rely on hope and prayer. Having all the cords and the IVs running to them, I thought, what if we had to take them home with some of these attachments? Will we be able to take care of them as well as they're being taken care of at the NICU? But slowly, the boys showed that they were fighters, and each of them in their own way and in their own time found a way to do what they needed to do, to breathe on their own and eat on their own. So that kind of helped alleviate our fears when it came time to bring them home.
We first heard about TIPS in the NICU. One of the nurses spoke with us a little bit about it, and then the social worker mentioned it to us. And I glanced over it and remember just thinking, well, I'm not really sure, what that entails, but we'll kind of think about that whenever they get home. They came home actually a week apart from each other, 8, 9, and 10 weeks, so it was kind of nice because we got to come home with one and kind of get a system figured out. We felt really fortunate that none of them came home with any oxygen tanks or tubes or monitors or anything, and our concerns were trying to keep track of the schedule. Each one had a 3-ring binder, time the bottles were fed and how much and what kind of dirty diaper and everything just down the line, so no matter who woke up in the middle of the night, we would know exactly where we left off and how to keep up. We realized that TIPS was a really good opportunity to see things that we need to be on the lookout for, and to get feedback on all 3 kids separately was very valuable to us, to see if there was any other specialists we needed to be seeing, and with one of them we had to. And so it was just very nice to get that feedback from professionals. And I know my own pediatrician appreciated it also, because I was going to him and asking, are they meeting milestones? Are they doing this? Are they doing that? So he was very pleased to have them evaluated and looked at and get information back to me on that. So I didn't have to go to him with all of my questions all the time. And so that was a really, really good thing. We had always actually joked around about Langston having a big head, and we just kind of thought, well, that's just him. He kind of had a big head whenever he was born, and now it's kind of bigger, and having a little bit of concern. When we were up at TIPS, the doctor suggested there might be something going on there, fluid on the brain, fluid within the skull, or it might just be normal. And so it was recommended to us that we have an ultrasound first and then an MRI. And it was noted that there was a little bit of fluid in there, but since then have had a couple follow-up ultrasounds and MRIs, and we were just so glad that was brought to our attention, and that we were able to proceed onward as far as any more diagnostics and know that it is normal and that it's going down and decreasing over time. So we felt that was really valuable.
We brought them in to the TIPS program when they're 6 months, and the staff there helped evaluate them to determine some things that we can do at home to help them improve, as they're grown, since they were premature. And a lot of the things they told us to do at home, we were able to take it and apply it and to help the boys. And I believe that everything that we picked up from there was helpful. As the months went along, they were able to do a lot of the tasks that children who are not premature do in a comparable way. And I don't know if we would have necessarily been able to do that on our own without the help of the TIPS program.
Part of having preemies and multiples and things like that, they are probably going to experience some delays. And we were turned on to the Early Development Network, and so we received an evaluation for Langston and Ezekiel. and they did qualify. And so we have received therapy services through Early Developmental Network, and we have noticed a lot of growth in those areas. Your time in the NICU is going to come to an end, and it seems it can be forever, and then all of a sudden it's over. But I can tell you it comes to an end, and somehow it seems just to be gone in a flash. You're going to come home with those babies and things are going to be okay, but understandably very scary and fearful. I would encourage any parent to really look into TIPS. It is so worth your time, and it's that much time you have to give to get a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of information to help promote your child's growth, to get hooked up with those different resources. If you need to, you may not need anything, which is great too, but at least you can find out more information. And the best thing about TIPS, of course, is that it's free of charge, no cost. And not only is TIPS no charge, but a lot of the resources they turn you on to also are at no charge. I just think TIPS is so beneficial and so glad to be part of it. I totally encourage any parent to really look into what it is they have to offer, because it can make a huge difference as far as the development of your child.